I first got into rugby by accident, actually. A lad who I went to school with, his dad was the coach at the local team, and he had asked my mum at school. I didn't know he'd asked my mum. He'd seen me in the yard, seen I was a big lad, and said, "Is it all right if Keegan comes to rugby?" So she said, "Yeah, just pick him up for training." So I was playing out on the street. I was about 11, and this car pulled up. He said, "Keegan, I spoke to your mum, you coming with me?" Obviously I knew who he was. He said, "Your mum says you have to come with me." So I knocked on the window. I said, "Richard says I have to go with him." She says, "Yeah." So I went with her. I didn't even know where I was going. Turned up to training, had a training session, loved it, and then never stopped playing since. My career was a bit of a slow burner at amateur. I didn't do a right lot as a kid, up until being about 15, and then I think we had a summer holidays, and when I came back after summer holidays I'd learned how to play rugby league. I don't know how it happened. It seemed to happen overnight. I personally didn't feel the pressure on me as a player was too much. As a 12-year-old, 15-year-old, when I started getting into the scholarships and stuff, the most pressure I felt came from me, is what I put on myself to perform, because obviously you are being watched and you are being monitored, so you want to perform to make sure that you stay in that environment, because if you don't, then you won't. Me figuring out my sexuality wasn't something that has happened until pretty recently, like this year, so the last 9 months, because I didn't think I was gay. I thought there were people on TV and stuff who were gay, and I was nothing like any of them. So I always thought, how could I be? That wasn't what I was like. So if that was gay, that wasn't me. But it's not as cut and dry as that. And then, so I suppose there's always been something there in my head, but I didn't know what it was until recently. I figured it out. When I'd figured out in my own head my sexuality, I felt that I could be quite open about it, because of the people I had around me, my teammates, my coaching staff, the club. I felt comfortable, so that for me wasn't a big issue. I think if I'd have figured my sexuality out when I was 16, 17, 18, I was just coming into the professional game, would I have felt comfortable about it then? No, probably not. But I don't think that's because of the club where I was at, or any club where any person might be at. I think it's because I would have thought that it would potentially affect my career. Knowing what I know now, and knowing the people in the game that I know now, I don't think it would. No, as long as you can play rugby, if you're good enough, you're good enough regardless of your sexuality, regardless of the colour of your skin, or anything like that. I do think it's hard for people to come out in sport. I think it's hard for people to come out in life in general. It's that fear of the unknown. You don't know what a person's reaction's going to be. So if you have a normal person, a person who doesn't play sport, and they come out, and they might come out to their friends and family, that might be 30, 40, 50 people. If you're a sportsman at an amateur level, then that sports team's going to have fans, so that might be another 100 people. And then if you go to a professional sportsman, say a footballer, who there's 70,000 people come watch you at weekend, then that's your friends, your family, plus 70,000 people's reactions that you have no idea what they're going to be. So I think that is why people find it hard to come out, and especially sportsmen find it hard to come out. People's reaction to me coming out have been nothing but positive. Teammates have been outstanding. To be honest, I suppose now, and I knew that there would be, what it is before you do it, you build up all these negative thoughts, all these things that you think could happen. You always fear the worst, but it's never usually the case, and it certainly hasn't been in mine. Teammates have been brilliant, coaches, the club, all publicly, said they stand by me, which I knew they would anyway. Fans from my club, from other club. I've had like directors from other rugby teams get in touch. I've had fans from other rugby clubs, fans from rugby union, just people who've seen it in the news and stuff, just getting in touch. If I could speak to my 15-year-old self, a bit of advice I'd give me would be don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's only a game. It is only a game. It's tough and it's pretty demanding, but it is only a game. And it's only 80 minutes out of a week that you play. Obviously there's all them hours of training and stuff in, and things will go wrong and things will go right, but stuff usually balances out in the end, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think if I had a message for sport, looking after kids as they're growing up and developing, I think it would be just communicate all the time. And we're at home, you might feel like you're repeating yourself, and kids will feel like you're repeating yourself as well, and they'll probably let you know. But it just takes that one moment when they think they take no notice, and then something happens and you say it and they do take notice, and it might only help one kid out of 20 in a team or a squad, but that's, you've helped. So just keep hammering on, communicate, make yourself available, and make sure the kids know you're available. I think sport as a whole needs to make sure that the players feel comfortable, that they've got people they can talk to, and it's reinforced. It's not just when you first come on your first training session, he's the coach, that's the player welfare manager, and that's it. Because kids forget, and it needs to be hammered home that if there's anything going on, whether it's at home, if it's friends or getting in drugs, anything, then there's somebody there who you can talk to, that it will stay confidential unless you don't want it to. But it needs to be, there just needs to be support in place, which I'm sure in a lot of sports and a lot of clubs there is support in place. But if it's there and people don't know about it, it might as well not be there. So it's just got to be hammered home that it's there, and that's why it's there and what its purpose is. And I think that'd help kids talk about all sorts of issues.